Just a few feet below the clear blue water off the coast of southern Greece, there are streets, houses, and graves that no living person has walked through in thousands of years. This is Pavlopetri, and many believe it is the oldest sunken city ever found. The strange part is that you do not need to be a deep-sea diver to reach it. The water is so shallow that a swimmer could float above the rooftops and almost reach down to touch the walls. How a whole town slipped beneath the sea, what the people who lived there left behind, and why it almost vanished a second time, makes this one of the most fascinating puzzles in the ancient world. And the way it survived for 5,000 years is even harder to believe than the way it sank. So how does an entire city just disappear underwater in the first place? Pavlopetri sits near the southern tip of mainland Greece, close to a small island called Elefanisos. The ruins rest only about 3 or 4 meters down, which is why divers can map them so clearly from above. The town was rediscovered in 1967 by a scientist named Nicholas Fleming, and a team from Cambridge mapped it the very next year. Decades later, in 2009, researchers came back with modern digital tools and built a detailed three-dimensional picture of the entire site. What that newer survey showed surprised everyone. The town was even bigger than people had first believed, with more buildings and streets stretching out across the sandy floor than the early maps had captured. This was not a pile of random stones. It was a real, planned settlement, with streets you could follow, houses that had separate rooms, open courtyards, and tombs where the dead were buried. The reason it ended up underwater is slow and almost gentle. Over thousands of years, earthquakes shook the coastline and sea levels crept upward. Bit by bit, the land sank and the water rose, until the homes that once stood on dry ground were swallowed by the sea. That answers how it sank. But it raises a bigger question. Who actually lived in a place like this, and what was daily life like for them? Pavlopetri was a busy working town during the Bronze Age, with roots that may stretch back close to 5,000 years or even more. This was not a tiny village of a few huts. People here had homes with multiple rooms, shared streets, and a real sense of community planning. Many experts believe it was a trading port, a place where boats came and went carrying goods up and down the coast and across the sea. Divers have found large clay storage jars, the kind used to hold oil, wine, and grain, which points to a town that stored and traded real wealth. The people who lived here made and used pottery, raised families, ran businesses, and buried their loved ones nearby in carefully built stone graves. Some were laid in simple stone-lined pits, others in small chambers cut for the dead. In other words, the same things people care about today, family, work, and honoring those they lost, were already happening on these streets thousands of years ago. The faces are gone, but the shape of their lives is still right there on the seabed. Now here is the part that puzzles almost everyone who studies it. Why didn't thousands of years of waves and storms grind this town into dust? The answer is partly luck and partly location. Pavlopetri sits in a calm, sheltered bay, protected from the worst of the open sea. Soft sand drifted over the ruins and acted like a blanket, holding the walls in place and shielding them from the pounding water. Because of that, the town plan survived in a way that is almost unheard of. From above, you can trace the outline of the streets and rooms as if you were looking at a map drawn by the people who built it. Few ancient cities anywhere on land are this complete. Never mind one that has spent thousands of years underwater. Researchers were able to study how the buildings connected, where the main roads ran, and how the town may have grown over time. It is like a photograph of the Bronze Age, frozen and waiting on the bottom of the sea. So if it has lasted this long, what could possibly threaten it now, and what does it really teach? The danger today is not time. It is people. Boat anchors can scrape across the ruins, careless visitors can disturb the stones, and the threat of looting is always there. For that reason, the site is now treated as protected ground, and researchers work to record every inch of it before anything is lost. The town that survived earthquakes and rising seas could still be damaged by a single dropped anchor. What Pavlopetri offers is rare. It gives a clear window into how ordinary people built and ran a town long before the rise of the famous Greek cities most people learn about in school. It shows planning, trade, and community at a moment in history that usually feels far out of reach. Most ancient sites leave people guessing at the layout. This one shows it almost whole. The story of how it was first noticed adds another layer to the mystery. More than 100 years ago, a researcher spotted strange stone shapes resting in the shallow water, but never understood what he was really looking at. It took until 1967 for a scientist to look again with fresh eyes and realize that these were not just odd rocks shaped by the tide. They were the bones of an ancient town. Sometimes a great discovery is not about finding something brand new. It is about finally looking at the right thing in the right way. Years later, the site became famous far beyond the world of scientists. Researchers used underwater cameras and powerful computers to build a moving, lifelike model of the town, letting people see what the streets might have looked like when they were full of life. All at once, the silent ruins on the seabed could be pictured the way they once were, with homes, walls, and busy paths instead of bare stones sitting cold beneath the waves. Part of what makes Pavlopetri so precious is just how rare it is. Most ancient towns were either built over by newer towns or slowly worn away to nothing. Very few were sealed under shallow, calm water and left almost exactly as they were. Because divers can reach it so easily, it has turned into a kind of open classroom, a place where people can study a whole Bronze Age town without digging through layers of later cities stacked on top of it. And there may be even more waiting to be found. Some surveys hint that the town could stretch further and reach back deeper into the past than the parts already mapped. The seabed has clearly not given up all of its secrets just yet. And it leaves behind a quiet, uncomfortable thought. The people of Pavlopetri surely believed their streets would stand forever, just as people do in every city today. They could not feel the ground sinking under their feet, year by year, until the sea was at their doors. Their town is now a ruin that swimmers drift over on a sunny afternoon. One day, far in the future, someone may float above the place where your own city used to be. If walking through this lost city was worth 8 minutes, give the video a like and subscribe to Remnants of Time for more stories the sea tried to keep. Share it with a friend who loves history, and tell the comments which ancient place should be next.